What is a DISC personality test? The answer is, it's not a test, it's an assessment. But why should you take one? Well, do you want to transform the way you communicate with others? Do you want to reduce conflict in the relationships in your lives? If so, stay tuned the rest of this video. We said a moment ago that it's not a test, it's an assessment, and that's correct. There are no right or wrong answers. Some of us move fast and some of us move a little bit slower. Some of us like to organize things and some of us are more based on having fun. But regardless, it's all about being self-aware. The key point to remember is that everyone is a unique blend of all four of these qualities we're going to talk about. So in terms of history of DISC, we can go way back to Hippocrates back in 400 BC. But to keep things a little bit more current, we're going to go to 1921 and Carl Jung. He's the author of Psychological Types. And he came up with this model of that there are four different types of personas, different types of personalities in terms of who we are and how we do what we do from a human behavior perspective. He published a book, Emotions of Normal People. And in that book, he really sharpened that concept that Carl Jung did in terms of these four personality styles are who we are. And they are measurable, predictable behavior patterns in terms of how people do what they do on a normal daily basis. The DISC language is based on observable behavior. So that's why you'll hear me use the term personality style and behavioral style almost synonymously. And one other point about Mr. Marston, he actually was the person that created the comic book Wonder Woman! So that was pretty exciting for me as a comic book nerd. Anyway, moving on. The DISC personality assessment became even more popular during World War II. The United States Army used this as a tool to hire and to get the best people in their positions of officers and where they should be within the organization within the U.S. Army. So from there, government kind of leaked that information out to business world, and businesses have been using that in the HR profession since that time. How accurate are these assessments? And these things are crazy accurate. They are over 90%. Again, if you get a good assessment like mine, they are over 90% accurate in terms of predicting what your behavior is as a person or that spouse of yours. And the key question, should I take one? Well, you have to answer a few questions. Do you want to be able to communicate more effectively? Do you want to reduce conflict in any relationship, be that at work or at home? That could be with a spouse or significant other. That could be with an estranged parent. Maybe it's a brother or sister. If you want to know yourself better, then know others better and be able to adapt your behavior to meet others where they are, then you need to take an assessment. So back in 1997, I was a teacher in the classroom. I was working a summer camp at the time. I came home from that camp and I found my wife at home crying on the edge of the bed. I said, "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" She said, "Alex, I just don't understand you." I'm like, okay, that's blunt, but okay, give me an example. She said, why can't you get all the groceries on the grocery list when I give it to you? There are only 10 items. Fair point, because I get lost, distracted, confused a little bit. And I said, well, sweetheart, let me ask you something. Why can't you just be a little more flexible? Let's say we want to go out to eat and on a Friday night without having a big plan or to do. Let's just get in the car and go. You don't like that. You can't really handle that. You start to freeze. Why is that? She says, well, I guess that's the way I'm wired. I just never liked that before. So we have this exchange back and forth, asking each other more and more questions. And we got to the point where we weren't splitting up or on the way to divorce, but this was 2 years into our marriage. And we were finding out that we really didn't know each other as well as we thought we did. That summer, I went to a camp and I met a gentleman by the name of Dr. Robert Rome. He handed me a personality assessment. He said, "Alex, do this. It's going to change your life." I said, okay, you're a little bit too happy about that, but sure. I took this personality assessment and I found out that I'm this super people-oriented person that likes to have fun and cares about people and really enjoys life, super glass half full kind of guy. But that wasn't the point that really struck home with me. What struck home with me was, that's me, but that's not my wife. I don't know what she is, but she's not that. And so with this information, I said, "Dr. Rome, this is fascinating. Can I take one of these assessments and give it to my wife?" He said, "Absolutely, Alex." I took it home. I said, "Sweetheart, I don't know if this is going to be the cure, the problem solve, or whatever this is going to be." But what it did do was allowed us to have her take that assessment grudgingly. I found out that she's the polar opposite of my personality style. She is a very task-oriented, driven individual. I'm the playful, kind person. And neither one of us is wrong. But knowing that I'm way over here and she's way over here, and if we can adapt our behavior to meet each other in the middle, we discovered that we're not doing this all the time, but with this knowledge, now we're doing this. We're meshing, we're getting along better, we understand our roles better. It's not a gender-based thing, it's a how do we get along with each other based thing. And so that's made us tremendous marriage partners, so much so that my wife works in my company. She works downstairs, I work upstairs. We meet at the table for lunch every day. She's my only direct report. We have 5 kids. That's pretty crazy. Yes, but what that does is taking this and blending them together, it allows us to be the perfect complements for one another. So why take an assessment? Do you want to stay married for 24 years with a spouse? Do you want to understand your child better? Do you want to be able to really help an aging parent in a difficult time who may think about money or living arrangements different than you as a caregiver does? If those things sound good to you, you need to take an assessment. So now that I've perked your curiosity a little bit, for a few dollars, imagine being able to transform the way you communicate in any relationship, improving a relationship with your significant other or spouse, your parents, a sibling, relationships at work, transforming the way that you can reduce conflict in any relationship. Just click on the link above and you'll be able to find a link to an assessment that'll help you transform the way you communicate.